The UConn Huskies fall to the Michigan Wolverines in what was a game that could have been spectacular, but the main talking point, the main storyline is how those officials had to make it about themselves every single second of that game. We couldn't go 4 possessions in a row without a whistle. It's the biggest game of the year. I want to see the best players on the best teams playing the game. Solo ball foul trouble. Elliot Cadeau foul trouble in the first half. Terrace Reed foul trouble. Silas Demery foul trouble. What the fuck? It ruined the game. It's so ticky-tacky. And the fact that they weren't even consistent, and here's my take on officiating for the longest time. If you're going to be bad, if you're going to be nitpicky, be consistently nitpicky. And they weren't for both teams. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that UConn deserved to win this game because they didn't. They did not. They were definitely fouling more than Michigan was. But when Michigan was fouling, nothing. Morris Johnson, he tripped somebody and then he ran a guy over down low. Aday Mara, there's a play where he literally swipes at Terrace Reed's shoulder with 2 hands. It was a 2-hand check. Nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and blame UConn or blame the refs for Michigan winning because Michigan deserved to win. Michigan was the better team. And I don't think that's disputable. This was one of the most dominant championship runs we've seen by a basketball team since the 2024 UConn Huskies. And the fact that they did beat UConn in pretty dominant fashion. Yes, it got a little bit hazy at the end, but there was never a moment really, I guess after the solo ball bank 3, but you're like, Michigan was in control for most of that game, and they did it with their best player not even playing 100%. And the fact that Yaxel Lendenborg got left off the all-tournament team for Alex Caravan is absolutely disgusting. And I understand Caravan was huge against Michigan State and huge against UCLA. He also hit the second biggest shot in that Duke game. But Yaxel, when he was fully healthy, averaged 25 and 8 in the round of 32, in the Sweet 16, and in the Elite 8. And then he got hurt early on in the Final Four matchup and was still able to make an impact shooting the basketball. He had a couple of threes in the second half to help grow that lead against Arizona. The fact that Alex Caravan was on the all-tournament team over Yaxel Lendenborg was despicable. The fact that Keaton Wagler wasn't on the all-tournament team is despicable. And yet again, the college basketball voters get another thing wrong. Are we shocked? However, I do want to say that the NCAA tournament this year was absolutely spectacular. Every single round, every single day, for the most part, had at least one terrific game. Okay? And everybody talking about NIL is ruining the sport. Did you watch the tournament? It was electric. Nebraska Vanderbilt, all-time finish. Kansas St. John's, all-time finish. Duke UConn, all-time finish. High Point in the first round. Kentucky Santa Clara in the first round. Even the Illinois UConn game in the Final Four got a little bit electric towards the end. Obviously, there were a fair share of blowouts because Michigan dominated everybody. Arizona blew out Arkansas. Arizona pretty much routed everybody. I mean, there was a little bit of a scare, but that's always going to happen. But if you can get at least one great game every single day, Tennessee, Virginia in the Sweet 16, like there were so many great basketball games. And that's just off the top of my head. So for everybody that's just complaining about how NIL ruined the sport, listen, the sport's still pretty damn fun to watch. I think this tournament had a million elite moments. It was an awesome tournament. It was an awesome spectacle, as it always is. March Madness is still electric. I don't know how you could watch this tournament and your biggest takeaway is NIL ruined the sport. You just didn't watch the tournament. If you think that the sport's in a good spot, it's fine. Okay, I'm enjoying it. Let's keep paying players. They deserve to be paid because they keep producing elite, high level entertainment. They do. And it was an electric tournament, man. It really was. And there were so many moving pieces, so many storylines. St. John's came back. Bill Self might retire. You had UNC's. VCU UNC was incredible. One of the biggest comebacks. This NCAA tournament was unbelievable. You had one of the biggest comebacks in tournament history with VCU UNC. You had a number 1 seed that was leading by 20 at halftime, never lost before. UConn upsets Duke. You had Dylan Darling from St. John's hit the buzzer beater. You had the Otega Owe sequence with Santa Clara. There were so many unbelievable moments in this year's tournament. And the biggest takeaway is going to be, NIL ruining the tournament. NIL didn't ruin anything. NIL has not ruined a single thing. The entertainment quality is better. It's better. I'm sorry we don't have your what was that dude on the Saint? We don't have your Loyola Chicago's making the Final Fours. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen anymore. It's not. But we did have an 11 seed in the Sweet 16. We did have a 9 seed beat a 1 seed. We had Iowa in the Elite Eight. Like, what more did we had a 9 seed in the Elite Eight? We had an 11 seed in the Sweet 16. It was a fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everybody likes to scream the sky is falling. The NCAA tournament is fine. We don't need to expand it. I'll tell you that right now, because the bubble teams this year stunk, even though Auburn won the NIT. Shut up. What a tournament it was. What an electric basketball season. All in all, the SEC stunk, so that's a win for everybody in college basketball. There were some still really good mid-major programs. I thought St. Louis put up a better fight against Michigan than any team besides UConn did. Like, they kept it hanging around in the beginning of the second half, and then Yaxel took over and they went on their little run and they didn't miss from three, and St. Louis just stopped making threes. There were good mid-major. Utah State put up a pretty good fight against Arizona. It's just they got tough. The mid-majors didn't get any type of respect. I thought you could have let in another Mountain West team instead of another SEC team like Mizzou, who lost at home, basically a home game in St. Louis against Miami. Like, you could have left out a couple of SEC teams and put in another Mountain West team, because the Mountain West was obviously legit. If the only team if the Mountain West champ put up a better fight against Arizona than the SEC champ did, maybe you should have put in another Mountain West team instead of Mizzou. Instead of Georgia, who got boat raced by the A10 regular season champ. So the SEC had a down year. That was electric. I think they need to give a little bit more respect to these high-seeded these high mid-major programs. And you're getting used to seeing these mid-major. You're going to see the same type of mid-majors, I think, now because of NIL. You're not going to see these hopeless mid-majors that don't have any NIL budget, that don't have any type of recruiting pool. They're just not going to be you're not going to see them. I think you're going to start to see the same mid-major programs. I mean, some can still emerge, but I think you're going to see your St. Louis's who extended their coach. You're going to see your VCUs. You're going to see your Memphis had a down year. I feel like you're going to see your Memphises. You're going to see these programs that have NIL budget, that have alumni bases, that are going to pay for players. You're going to see some of these mid-majors still. It's going to be like the same few mid-major teams every single year. Your Utah States, right? These guys with NIL funding, NIL budgets, good established programs. Let's talk more about this national championship game. Obviously, the refs stunk. They were awful. They made it about themselves. It was disgraceful. And they did favor Michigan with the whistle. That's it. That's enough. I'm talking about the refs. The refs didn't win Michigan or lose UConn this game. What lost this game for UConn is the fact that Terrace Reed did not play well offensively. Braylon Mullins did not play well offensively. Say what you want about the refs, but Solo Ball and Silas Demery got into foul trouble early, and it was up to Malachi Smith for UConn, who was like their fourth guard, came in, and I thought he gave them some really, really solid minutes in the first half in an extended role. And if Solo Ball is playing 16 minutes in the game, you're probably not going to win the game. Even though he's stunk in March Madness, he came out and banged a couple of shots early. He looked like he was going to have a good day. Boom, foul trouble right away. And Elliot Cadeau was the best player for Michigan in this game. And I don't know if he was even that close. I mean, he was unbelievable. Trey McKinney hit a couple of really clutch shots, especially the three at the end, which was a 5-point swing where it looks like Terrace Reed saves it. Somebody smokes the layup. Will look like a foul that they didn't call, by the way, but somebody smokes the layup. They come down, and then, oh my gosh, I just said his name 2 seconds ago. Trey McKinney bangs the three. And I said to my mom, I think, all right, that's probably it. And then UConn, credit to them, they fought. They really fought. And I feel like on the last play, that was a foul that they looked over for an elbow. I thought that should have been a jump ball. Gave the ball right back to UConn. It's just, they ruined it, bro. They fucking stunk. They sucked. They sucked. The refs fucking sucked. And you can't have stinky refs that called 12 fouls 10 minutes into the game. And it's a free throw. Awful. And UConn was fouling more. Like, UConn was hacking. I'm not saying they weren't. And that was the ultimate factor is Michigan got to the line. They made 23 free throws in a row in the game. Like, they just didn't miss from the line. They got to the line a lot more. And there's a lot of ticky-tacky bullfuck. And I don't want to watch a national championship with a bunch of ticky-tacky bullfuck. I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm tired of the take. Let the boys play. Let the boys fucking play. You know it's going to be a physical team, two of the most physical teams in the country. Let the boys fucking play. Let it be a bloodbath. And don't just stop. And then if you're going to blow your whistle every 5 seconds, blow your whistle every 5 seconds. In the second half, they just stop blowing the whistle. Like, be fucking consistent. Be consistent. If you're going to call the game the one way in the first 10 minutes, you better call the game that way the next 30. And they just weren't that. They fucking suck. They stuck. I know I said I was done talking about those, but they stuck. And they ruined what could have been an electric game because Solo Ball was on the bench. Silas Demery was on the bench. Elliot Cadeau was on the bench for a good portion of the first half. Terrace Reed was on the bench. It just, they fucking ruined it. They ruined it. It's unbelievable. Shout out UConn for putting up the fight that they did. Seriously. It was unbelievable. And everything was earned. That's why college basketball is so much more fun to me than the NBA, because that was just physical, high intensity, defensive. I don't know. It's just more entertaining to me, man. The NBA is a whistle every 3 seconds. It's definitely more skillful. Like, there's no disputing that. Like, it's way more skillful, but it's way more entertaining at the college level. They just want it more. It's way more high level intensity defense. And usually college refs let the boys play a little bit more. Not the case today. Not the case today. Terrace Reed, not good. Alex Caravan, not the greatest. Braylon Mullins, obviously very, very cold. And there was a stretch where they had a bunch of turnovers in the second half when Elliot Cadeau hit a three. Elliot Cadeau had a lob to Mara. He was operating at a really, really high level. He was scoring the basketball better than he was scoring the basketball. I don't have the box score in front of me, but it seemed like it. Seemed like he was scoring the basketball at a way better level. Had a couple of and ones. Yaxel had an and one. Yaxel had a nice tip, and he did not play his best game, but he was obviously ailing a little bit, and he was like, all right, I'm going to try and be a jump shooter. The 3-point regression, we saw it for both teams. I mean, Michigan was shooting in a ridiculous clip, and we saw somebody, Mikey Altobelli, friend of the program, kind of, he said in my chat here, in my comment section, we want to see UConn wins this game with some ridiculous shooting regression from Michigan. Michigan got it. They got that shooting regression. They did, but UConn was not able to capitalize. They went like 15 minutes in the second half without banging a three, and it was right there for them, bro. It was really right there for the Huskies if they could just make a few more threes, and they didn't. And it was right there for the taking. Like, they were in that fucking game, dude. A few more calls go their way. Like, there was a couple, like Cadeau was foul baiting like a motherfucker too. So credit to him, but he was foul baiting. He absolutely was. Some soft foul calls, really. And I just hate that. It bothers me, and it's going to bother me forever because this was a really fun basketball season for me. I'm sad college basketball is over,